Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to our ISKCON official YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, 11th chapter, text 36, 33 onward. So, Gopyo Rudha Ratha Nutna Kocha Kunkuma Kantaya Krishna Lila Jaghu Pritya Niska Kanchya Subhasasa. That means the cowherd women riding on the bullock carts were dressed very nicely with excellent garments, and their bodies, especially their breasts, were decorated with fresh kunkuma powder. As they rode, they began to chant with great pleasure the pastimes of Krishna. So, Sanatana Goswami and Brihad Vaishnava Darshan says that the gopis are described in two verses. They mounted a type of cart, ratha, or in order to sing loudly and display beauty, they rode in a special vehicle which was higher and broader than a cart. They were especially beautiful because of the kunkuma and their young breasts. And thus these women were not old. All women who rode on the carts were ever young. They sang about the pastimes of Krishna, who attracts all hearts. The niskas were the cheap ornaments, so only they are mentioned. These gold pendants, Prabhupada Maharaj says. So in verse 34 it is said that Tatha Jasada Rohanyao Ekam Sakatam Astite Rejatu Krishna Ramabhyam Tatkatha Sravanotsuka. Thus, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great pleasure, Mother Jasoda and Rohini Devi, so as not to be separated from Krishna and Balaram for even a moment, got up with them on one bullock cart. In this situation, they all looked very beautiful. The purport of Prabhupada says, it appears that Mother Jasoda and Rohini couldn't be separated from Krishna and Balaram even for a moment. They used to pass their time either by taking care of Krishna and Balaram or by chanting about their pastimes. Thus Mother Jasoda and Rohini looked very beautiful. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Saraswati Sandika says, Jasoda and Rohini held their sons and sat on one cart because Krishna and Balaram couldn't bear to be separated from each other. So Sanatana Goswami and Brihad Vaishnava Darshan says that Tatha is an ornament of speech or indicates among all that was described, Jasoda and Rohini also were decorated with niskas, etc. They were on the cart with Krishna and Balaram because they wanted to hear stories from Krishna and Balaram. Out of affection, neither of the two boys could give up the other, or the mothers in earnestness to hear the two boys speak didn't distinguish between them, or they were eager to hear the two speak to each other. Krishna is mentioned first in reference to Jasoda and Balaram to Rohini, or they were to hear Krishna speak with great sweetness. So, in the verse 35 it is said that Vrindavanam sampravisya sarvakala sukhavaham tatra chakro brada basam sakatei ardhachandravat. In this way they entered Vrindavan, where it is always pleasing to live in all seasons. They made a temporary place to inhabit by placing their bullock carts around them in the shape of a half moon. The purport of Prabhupada Maharaj says that as stated in the Vishnu Purana, Sakati Bhata Paryantas Chandrardha Kara Sanstite, and as stated in the Harimansa, there was no need to make fences all around. One side was already defended by thorn trees, and the thorn trees and the bullock carts and the animals encircled the inhabitants in the temporary residence. Vishnu Jagat Thakur, Sarada Dasantika says that they formed a half circle with their bullock cart and stored all their household goods behind the carts. The front area was left open to the cows could easily come and go. This is described in the Vishnu Purana. There was no need to make fences around their temporary residence. The inhabitants were encircled by bullock carts, animals, and thorn trees. And Sripad Jiva Goswami in Lakhu Vaishnava Tosani has given a long purport, but I would like to speak from Brihad Vaishnava Tosani of Sanatana Goswami. They happily entered Vrindavan after crossing the Jamuna. It was the beginning of a summer. During the height of summer, they played in the forest they are very happily. And the playing in Vrindavan during the summer was described previously, because at that time the river would be easy to cross. It is not mentioned. The crossing was at a high place beyond Karya Hrada. The forest carried completely the happiness of all seasons. Since there was no extremes or hot and cold, there was no need of houses. They made a place for the cows to stay, or they made a place for all the people of Braja to live. Because they rested on the bank of the Jamuna and the bank was straight, they made a half circle on the bank for staying. Or because the river curved, they settled along the bank in that shape. Or it took that shape to place all the goods behind and the cows in front, with broad areas for doors, so the cows could live easily. All of the people of Braja then went to live in Vrindavan. They lived in a semicircle made of enclosures of carts. It is also stated in Vishnu Purana. Thus, Braja was south of Karya Hrada by a prosa and was 1 yojan in length. This was Nanda's main residence beside Nandiswara hill. Though the Jamuna was far away, for people living there at that time, it was easy to go there. It seemed quite close. Later, these will be explained. Sometimes the cows lived at Nandiswara, and sometimes before that place. Since the grass was abundant there, the cowherds went to various places to meet the cows. This is understood by logic, local knowledge, and practicality. Braja means to go here and there at various times. So, in the next verse, that is verse 36, it is said that Vrindavanam, Govardhanam, Jamuna, Purinani cha, Bhikshyasit, Uttama Priti, Rama, Madhavayo Nrupa. That means, O King Parikshit, when Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavan, Govardhan and the banks of the river Jamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. So in the purport, Sanatana Goswami and Brihad Vaishnava Tosani says that in Vrindavan there are 3 attractive places are described. Though the banks and Govardhan are included in Vrindavan, they are mentioned separately. Though other places were also excellent, these places were particularly dear because of their fame and beauty. Or compared to Vaikuntha, these places were dear. Therefore, the word Madhva is used. O King, Madhva means husband of Lakshmi. O King, Sukadev addresses Parikshit in wonder or bliss. It was equaling and pleasing to Krishna and Balaram. So, in the next verse, that is verse 37, it is said, 37 to 40, these 4 verses describe Krishna and Balaram began tending calves and sports with their friends. In verse 37 it said, Evam brajokasam pritim jachanto bharatestidhi kalabhakei sokarena vatsaparo bhavu vadhu. Vatsapala. The Lord became Vatsapala. In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys and talking in half-broken language, just like small child, and gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Braja. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the calves. It is said that they left this Gokula at the age of 3 years. So at the age of 3 years, the Lord started tending calves. In the purport, Sri Prabhupada Maharaj says, as soon as Krishna and Balaram were little grown up, they were meant for taking care of the calves. Although born of a very well-to-do family, they still had to take care of the calves. This was the system of education. Those who were not born in Brahmana families were not meant for academic education. The Brahmanas were trained in a literary academic education. The Kshatriyas were trained to take care of the state, and the Vaishyas learned how to cultivate the land and take care of the cows and calves. There was no need to waste time going to school to be falsely educated and later increase the number of unemployed. Krishna and Balaram taught us by their personal behavior. Krishna took care of the cows and played his flute, and Balaram took care of agricultural activities with a plough in his hand. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Sarartha Darshanika says that at the suitable time, 3 years old, Krishna and Balaram started taking care of the calves. So Srila Sanatana Goswami says, after coming to Vrindavan, or in this way, the two boys gave bliss to all the inhabitants of Braja by their attractive, astonishing natural activities and by the sweet words. Though they could speak previously when Krishna ate that, now in Vrindavan their speech was particularly sweet with various topics. When they started 4 years, they began to herd the calves. So there is a little differences of opinion. They stayed in Mahavana for 3 years. In the 4th year, they came to Vrindavan. After spending a short time doing Balya, they began herding the calves. So, Krishna and Balaram passed through their Kumar period and stayed at Mahavana till the age of 7. It is stated in Harivansa. So, Srila Sanatana Goswami said, this statement is from another kalpa and should be rejected since it contradicts many statements elsewhere. So, thank you very much for listening to this lecture, and please don't forget to subscribe channel, like our channel, and get to Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna